Welcome everybody to the Nintendo Castle podcast. With me, your friendly webmaster, content writer, news updater thingy, and pretty much does everything else. I'm the Fuse Shadows, with your other friendly neighborhood content writer, also my sidekick Emhave.
Hi!
And this is the first ever Nintendo Castle podcast. So we're pretty excited for this, right, Emhave?
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Like, seriously.
Indeed it is.
So, we're going to talk about what we are doing in this podcast.
So, we have a lot of stuff planned for this podcast. First off, we're gonna run down Nintendo news. Me and Emhave are gonna be doing that. Next off, we have a interview with a special guest. There will be a new guest every week or month, because this is a monthly podcast. And our guest will be interviewed in that segment, so stay tuned for that. After that, we have a review of Skyward Sword done by Emhave.
Me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And after that, we will have the Nintendo Castle Roundtable. After that, we have a very special announcement about something that's very big going to be happening in the near future.
Indeed it is.
Then we'll be saying goodbye. So that's the rundown of the podcast.
Yep.
Indeed it is.
So let's start with the news.
Welcome everybody to the news segment of the Nintendo Castle podcast. Once again with the same two people in the introduction. Me, I'm the True Shadows, and our friendly Norwegian, Emmy.
Hi. So, our first point is that Skyward Sword is out. Finally.
Yep, it's
and Fuse hasn't got it yet.
You're funny. You're funny. It's so bad. Anyway.
I have beaten it.
I know. You're the one writing a review for it. So, yeah, it's been receiving pretty good reviews so far. Pretty amazing reviews so far.
Yeah.
From pretty much everyone. IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Which is pretty fantastic. If I do say so myself.
We can say 10.0. Because,
10.0.
yeah. That sounds more fantastic, actually. Yeah. Yeah, so, what else do we have?
Super Mario Land 3D has been released recently, and
The same
I haven't
day,
read it.
the same day as Skyward Sword. They were released the same day. At least in Europe, yeah. So,
Skyward Sword's sort of been overshadowing Super Mario Land 3D,
totally.
so I don't think either of us have read up on it much.
Nope.
But you can expect to see some content for that in the future from us. And, yeah. Next.
Yeah, next we have that Kirby's Return to Dreamland has been released. And, in Europe, it's called Kirby's, Dreamland Wii. So it's got different names. And that looks actually pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting it for Christmas, along with Super Mario Land 3D. So,
Yeah, same here. Although I might not be getting it for Christmas, I might be getting it afterwards. It's looking pretty great. Really excited to finally play a new Kirby game again.
yeah.
Since I'm a big fan of the Kirby series itself. So, Mario Kart 7 is just about to be released at the time of the release of this podcast. The 2nd of December in Europe, the 1st of December in Japan, the 3rd of December in Australia, and I'm guessing that also includes the PAL region, which means like Asia and stuff. And then the 4th of December in America, so these...
you're getting it last.
Yeah, getting it last, and I'm not so excited about that. But Yeah, just like pretty much every other game that we've talked about, it's looking pretty great. Like, it's gonna be pretty great.
Indeed. And also, a Zelda-themed 3DS is also coming out soon. Like, Zelda marks on it. And it's the 3DS every Zelda fan has been waiting for when they decided not to buy a 3DS on the release.
I honestly can't decide between buying that and buying the Flame Red Mario-themed 3DS. Although, we'll probably get the Zelda-themed, because, you know, Zelda's awesome.
Haven't you already got one?
I don't have one myself, my brother has one.
Ah.
But he never uses it, so I basically use it all the time. If you're watching this, bro, I love you. Anyway, so on to site news. Not much has happened in the past month. Poco Dudeface's Donkey Kong Country Returns video walkthrough. The first episode was released earlier this month. He discontinued it due to the lack of several reasons. And as soon as we can, we're going to get that out again. So, yeah, make sure to check out the first episode of that on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/TheNintendoCastle. Self-promotion. Okay.
Yes, and we are having our first podcast.
But you knew that already.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be watching this if you didn't know already. And lastly, on site news, in celebration of the holiday season, we're going to be changing the site's, well, not really the layout, but we're going to be changing the site's look for Christmas, changing the banner and all that. And,
Yes.
It's going to be Christmas themed. I think that's all we have for Nintendo and site news at the moment.
Yep. So, next is the interview with a very special person.
Very special person, indeed.
So, be right back for that.
Welcome back to the Nintendo Castle podcast with me, I am the Few Shadows, Emhave.
Hello.
Poco Dudeface.
Hello.
And our special guest for this segment, Skirmeffiton from Zelda Eternity.
What's up, guys?
So, since this is the first podcast, I'll go ahead and explain how this works. It's an interview. We're going to interview Skirmeffiton. So, let's just get right down to it. Why did you decide to start Zelda World?
Let's see. You know, I always liked making websites, you know, since I was at a really young age. So I joined Zelda Universe forums a few years ago, and I really liked the whole site and how it worked. So I made a site, I think it was called like Zelda Stuff or something, but it never really went anywhere. So then the year after, I made Zelda World, and now I'm on Zelda Eternity.
I think I might have visited that original Zelda Stuff website, actually.
Really? Were you looking for like a walkthrough or something?
No, it was like right when Zelda World just came out, and I think you still had a link to it and looked through it a little.
Oh, yeah, I did. God. It's only been like 2 years, though. Seems like a long time, though.
Yeah.
Having nostalgia?
A little bit.
So, next question. How did you get into the Zelda series?
Well, my brother actually, he had been playing Zelda since A Link to the Past, and I kind of just picked up on it, you know? Because he was playing it, and then I started playing. My first actual game that I played through was Ocarina of Time, and it's still my favorite Zelda game ever. So that's basically how I got into it.
How did you come up with your name?
Well, long story short, because I made a very long story version of it. I was playing Rock Band. I was making a character or whatever, and I was naming the guy, and I just mashed the buttons, and it kind of came out to be Skirmethicin. So
Wow.
I'm stuck with it.
Sounds like. Just saying. What's your opinion of the new Mario Kart game coming out soon?
Oh, it looks pretty awesome, and if I still had my 3DS, I'd probably get it.
What happened to your 3DS then?
Let's just say, it was left somewhere, and someone took it, and there's no way of me ever getting it back.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And it's been, like, it happened like 3 months ago, so...
That does suck.
It's like right after it came out.
After...
The 3DS came out.
Well, no, 3 months ago. 3DS came out in March.
Derp. So, what's your opinion of the Wii U then?
The Wii U, it's pretty interesting, you know, the whole controller with the screen, and I like some of the features they were adding in, and the fact that they're going to have better online play kind of made me excited for it. But, I mean, I've been watching some of the news, and developers have been having a lot of issues with just getting things to work on it, and that's made me a little worried. Although, I think Miyamoto, or maybe it was someone else that said that they were going to show off something different, not completely different, but a little bit different, something newer come E3 in 2012. So, I guess I won't really form a true opinion until then.
Hmm.
I see. So, yeah, so they're gonna develop a newer revolution in gaming in 2012.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be completely different, I wouldn't think so. But,
They're gonna change a few things around.
yeah, because the feedback, I mean, feedback was alright, but it had a little, you know, I guess hesitation, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
And then it goes 1 year, and then Sony and Microsoft just copies everything.
Yeah, they'll come out with something. I think Microsoft is going to release their new system a year early just because of the Wii U. So, going to be some big competition.
So, on to next question, one about your site. Your site, Zelda World, merged with Zelda Eternity a couple months ago. Have you and the other Zelda World staff found yourself comfortable there so far?
Yeah, it was an easy adjustment because, you know, we've been involved with Zelda Eternity before, and, you know, everybody basically knew each other, and especially me, I've known their staff and their community since, like, it's been like a year now. So, that's why, you know, if I had merged with, like, a random other site, it would have been a lot more difficult. I'm glad I merged with Zelda Eternity. Not only did I like the site, but I liked the people there, and, you know, there was already, how do you put it? We could already work together, so, you know, it just kind of carried on after the merge.
Did you meet the Zelda Eternity staff at Zelda for Eternity, was it 2 summers ago?
Actually, when that marathon was going on, I heard about it on Zelda Universe, I think, and I went to the site, and I was at the part where they were stuck in Ocarina of Time at the Water Temple, and I stayed there for about 5 seconds and I left. I was just like, forget it. And,
Richard is not a good introduction.
Yeah. That wasn't good. But then afterward, I came back to the site more and more, and then after the Metroid Brawl stream where they released version 5, that's where I came in contact with Falcool, and everything just kind of went from there.
I see. So, what's your favorite Zelda game aside from Ocarina of Time?
Darn it. Really, I gotta say, it's sort of a mix between Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. You know, because Majora's Mask was a pretty unique game, and the thing is with Twilight Princess is, how do I put it? It's been way too long since I played that game. Twilight Princess, it just kind of ushered in something really cool from the series, because I mean, there weren't really, before that there were only like handheld releases besides Four Swords, right? It hadn't been since like Wind Waker since we got a console release. So I guess it was kind of the hype, you know, excited me about the game, and I really liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was it the excitement for it that made you love it so much?
Kinda, yeah. I guess you could put it like that.
Yeah. What series do you play the most aside from Zelda?
I'll be honest, I haven't been playing video games that much.
Minecraft.
Anyway, I haven't been playing video games all that much. I mean, in general, I can say that I play, you know, Mario, Sonic, and I was
All
trying
the
to...
good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff. Yeah, I guess if you count Super Smash Brothers as a series, because I've been playing a lot of that lately.
Preparing for the tournament at CE.
Oh, yes. And I really can't give a good answer on that, because I just haven't been... besides, you know, Zelda, I think and Mario and Sonic, I think for other series I just play like one game or something. It may not particularly be part of a series, or maybe it is, I just don't get into the series, you know what I mean?
Like someone who plays Metroid Prime but doesn't play any of the other games?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And you play Minecraft a lot, but, you know. Emhave has a question he would love to ask you right about now.
Yeah, so, can you tell us your real name and post a picture of yourself?
Next question.
That was a C reaction.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's all we really had planned in terms of questions. So, hold it. After we finished recording the podcast segment, we realized that Skirmeffiton forgot to say goodbye, or I ended the call before he could say goodbye. So here's a little clip of us talking afterwards about that very instance. So yeah, time in. Okay, it's recording again. Say bye quickly.
Bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
And now, I present to you Nintendo Castle's Skyward Sword review. You start off in Skyloft, which can be closely considered as many people's idea of a paradise. If you're playing the game for the first time, this moment can't be described in words. The moment you get control of Link, an orgasmic feeling struck through your body while listening to the fresh music made just for the Night Academy. This is when you're thinking, 2 years of painful waiting are finally over. The sensitive motion controls make sure the combat and battle style of this game definitely is the best battle style we have ever seen in a Zelda game thus far. In the start of the game, it will be a little difficult handling the precise slashes that you sometimes are forced to make. Personally, I had huge problems getting the horizontal slash to work out perfectly. However, once you are used to the angle you have to swing the remote in, this stops becoming a problem and you look at it as an amazing and exciting experience instead. Some people argue about having to recalibrate the motion controls too often. I can agree on that. However, this has really nothing to do with the game at all, just the motion controls. If there is something that should be chopped down on because of this, it is the motion controls, not Skyward Sword. Nintendo has wisely chosen to mix the best aspects of the cartoonish graphics from the Wind Waker and the realistic graphics from Twilight Princess. This has resulted to be a whole new graphical style that suits Skyward Sword perfectly. The graphics are not as realistic as in games such as Call of Duty, but that's not what we want for Zelda either. Twilight Princess was a good example on how realistic Nintendo are able to make the graphics in Zelda games. Nintendo's provision on making Skyward Sword less realistic and more cartoonish was a wise decision that has turned out to be the best graphics we have ever seen on Wii. It's a whole new dimension of graphics. When you are watching the cutscenes, you can easily forget that it is a video game and not a movie. The only thing that makes you sure it's not a movie is the lack of voice acting. The difficulty of the dungeons and the game itself is exactly how I personally want it to be. There are some hard puzzles here and there, which give you an inexpressible feeling when you eventually solve them. This is a game you can attempt to beat all by yourself without any help at all. Speaking of dungeons, some of the dungeon designs are superior. Without spoiling any of the dungeons, let me just tell you that some of the ideas are magnificent. The bosses also have a good difficulty in my opinion. Not too easy, not too hard, although I can actually admit that they could have been a wee bit harder. While some of the dungeons may be a bit short, the motion controls' item functions live up for that. It's amazing using the bug catching net and turning it vertically with the Wii remote. Using the motion controlled Wii remote to steer the beetles is also an amazing experience. When you're stuck, you can spend countless minutes with the beetle, roaming over areas you haven't gained access to yet. Sometimes when you're doing exactly that, the beetle suddenly hits a switch, opening your way to progress. When you're flying in the sky, you're steering the Loftwing just like the beetle. Since you're easily able to steer your Loftwing with only one hand, you can eat or do something else with the other. Ew! A guy in the bazaar named Gondo is all behind the upgrades of your items. All he wants in return are treasures and some rupees. This motivates you to go looking for treasures like never before, which is rather good than bad. Some upgrades are more amazing than others. Some of them are making the bug catching net bigger, magnify the capacity of extra bomb bags, quivers or decussite satchels, improving the durability of your shield and giving your beetle a boost function and extending its stamina. The beetle upgrades are so badass that you definitely should try getting them as early on in the game as possible. There are also bugs for you to collect. You can spend these bugs on improving medicine you have already bought, which can make them quite amazing. Some other additions we have never seen before are the stamina gauge, the shield gauge, and the dowsing ability. The stamina gauge falls when you are dashing and can be refilled by stamina fruits. It can also refill itself, but a lot slower. Be careful not to make it drop completely, as Link will stop up, catching for his breath. The shield gauge is basically the shield's durability. It can be refilled by a purple potion, or be fixed completely by Gondo, the dude that upgrades your items. If the shield gauge drops completely, the shield will break and you will never get it back. Upgrading your shield improves its durability, but breaking an upgraded shield is very tedious. The dowsing ability allows you to search after things you are looking for. This is a very cool addition and makes 100%ing without any guide much easier. Some people say it makes the game too easy, but heck, you can choose not to use it if you're stubborn like that. The soundtrack in this game is absolutely fantastic, and is definitely one of the best soundtracks we have ever had in a Zelda game before. In some places, it happens that you sometimes just stop up, closing your eyes, just listening to the magnificent music that Koji Kondo and his team have composed just for this game. There are only a small amount of themes we have heard in earlier Zelda games, such as the house theme. However, for the Night Academy, they have come up with something completely new. Something so compelling that I wanted to find the sheets on the internet and learn the song on piano right away. The music in Skyloft's Bazaar is so varying. There is one theme representing the whole bazaar, and there are different versions of that theme on every counter. This means that you can hear 5 different themes in less than 10 seconds. For instance, you can buy a new shield while hearing a catchy theme in the background, then you can turn around to another theme and walk a few steps to the upgrade counter, being welcomed by yet another theme. Like in only a few games after Majora's Mask, you get a very close relationships to some of the characters, and they are amazingly fitting with the story. The characters are very different from each other as well. Look at the contrast between the bored and depressed Patrice and a bullied Groose full of self-confidence who turns out to be not as bad. There is a very special character in Skyloft that looks like a demon and that everyone except the little girl is afraid of. Turning this character into a human is just an example of how close you're getting to the characters. Skyloft can in many ways be compared to Clocktown in Majora's Mask. You start off in both of them, they are both the center of their worlds, and you return to these places countless times while playing the games, also to do side quests. Thing is, there are a lot of things to do in Skyloft and Clocktown. In both places, you end up helping a lot of people out for heart pieces. Also, in Skyward Sword, you can also get something known as gratitude crystals. There are a lot of side quests to do. Some side quests are even a part of the main quests. Most of the side quests are being done in Skyloft, again similar to Clocktown in Majora's Mask. The only thing I'm missing in this game is a huge overworld you can use countless hours on exploring. The closest thing we are getting to an overworld in this otherwise fantastic game is the wide sky. You can use a heck lot of time exploring the sky, but with only a few amount of very small islands, this exploration is short-lasting. This game is definitely one of the best Zelda games ever made. Calling it the absolute greatest is not far away from the truth. However, the truth has always been that there is no best Zelda game, just personal favorites. Nevertheless, this game has with no doubt made it to the top of my favorite Zelda game list. This game is simply just a masterpiece. If you've got a Wii, there is absolutely no reason for you not to get this game. The battle style is amazing, the graphics are unique, the NPCs are magnificent, the soundtrack is superior, the item functions are creatively designed, the item upgrades are encouraging to carry out, and the storyline is very well put together. Without a doubt, I give Skyward Sword a 10 out of 10 score. So, you just heard the Skyward Sword review, and now we're going to discuss the whole game with a roundtable. And we have me, Emhave, and we have Spirittracksmaster.
That's me.
Nick, aka Legend of Hyrule 31.
Hey.
And we have Poco Dudeface, who is not talking but just listening. So, we wanted to have as many as we could, but we decided not to have Fuse. He is not on, we couldn't get him on, and besides, Poco and Fuse do not have the game, so we are just doing it us three. So, what are your first experiences with Skyward Sword?
I think it's pretty fun, honestly. It's sort of different from the Zelda series, sort of. Very
I agree with that
unique.
statement.
Yeah, very, very unique.
How was it like when you got control of Link and just went around? How was that feeling?
Well, at first I was having trouble with the controls, but it all started to come naturally. I mean, the controls are really fluid, and yeah.
Kept falling off Skyloft my first time, but then all controls are fudgy when you first use them. But now that I know how to use them, it actually makes a lot of sense, and is really fun.
Yeah, so my first experience, that was, I was exploring and just went around the whole thing, the whole Skyloft, and then I was climbing the vines, and it was like, he climbed them so fast. He didn't climb them so fast in Twilight Princess, so I was amazed how fast he climbed the vines. So that was my first.
Probably because they have the stamina meter on it, so they kind of have to make them naturally fast, so you can get around on the vines.
It's probably that. So, so how far are you in it so far? Nick, how far?
I just finished the 6th dungeon,
Yeah, and I'm looking for the 6th dungeon.
Yeah, so
A while back, me and
I'm done with the game. So I finished the game a week ago. No, almost a week ago, and I've started on my 100% and have gotten to the 5th dungeon on my 100% run. So yeah, I've played it a lot. So, how does it stand as your favorite Zelda game?
Up at the top, definitely.
I definitely thought it would be my favorite Zelda game, but it didn't really capture that. It wasn't really something that I felt was going to be nostalgic, honestly.
It has become my favorite, at least. I don't know how long it's going to stay on top of my favorite Zelda game list, but I know it is now. Like, I love the game, and it's amazing to me, so...
It's definitely a close second, though, to my favorite. Definitely a close second.
It's probably my favorite, actually.
My favorite is the Wind Waker, and that's because basically I spent probably... Yes, I know you laugh at that. I've spent probably... I was basically born with the game in my hands, honestly.
Yeah, so, do you think it's going to, like, move places? Like, it's going to go up on your favorite list, or down, or do you think it's just going to stay where it is?
I'm pretty sure it's going to stay where it is, and at least until the next comes out.
Usually as new games come out, they move their way up, and then over time they settle.
Yeah, the next Zelda game will probably be for the 3DS. I'm excited to see how it evolves out to be, but yeah. So, we all have our failures in such games as Zelda, so do you have any failures that just pop out at once? Or that you just remember some failures?
Well, I know at first I was very bad at landing on places. Like, once I was skydiving and I tried to land on places, I was very bad at that.
Yeah. I actually have a very huge failure, or, yeah, the battle in Seal Grounds, or, no, the Seal Temple. You know that battle? Yeah, I completely missed that the first time, and I didn't find that battle until just right before the final boss. So, until the 6th dungeon, I played the whole game with only one bottle.
Wow.
I don't think anyone can beat that fail.
I mean, it's easy to miss, so I wouldn't blame.
Yeah, but it was like, you can have the hidden item inside of here, and then I didn't get it. So, this became a shorter roundtable than I expected, but I think this is it. So, say goodbye.
Right.
And we'll be right back with the announcement. So, see you then.
Adios.
Bye.
And now, a very special announcement.
Nintendo Castle's proud to announce its first ever official video game marathon. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah! Applause.
Okay, so, yeah, what do we have to say about it?
First off, it will have a theme, but we haven't exactly decided what the theme will be, and we haven't, gotten everyone's approval from the people who will be streaming. But we do know that it will be themed around something Nintendo related, so look forward to that.
And it will be on New Year's Eve until 2 days after New Year's. So
which is a total of 3 days.
Yeah, we don't really actually know that yet, but it will probably be around that. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll give you times later. Players will most likely include me.
Me.
And Coco Dude Faced, and maybe Nick, and maybe Epic Doug. But we don't know yet, and they don't know yet, I don't think.
No. And more details about it will be in the December podcast.
And don't worry, there will be a December podcast. We're making this a monthly thing.
Yep. At least for as long as we can. Yeah. So that's the announcement.
So, yeah. Okay, but that's not all, folks. We also, next podcast, we will be having a very special new segment. It'll be the mailbag, where you can send in your questions, and we'll be answering them. So, yeah, make sure to send in your questions to either emhave.ze@gmail.com or iamthefuseshadows@gmail.com, and you can find the rest of the staff's emails at the staff page.
And also our own.
Yes,
So-
and also our own.
Yeah, so if you didn't catch them, then all of the emails are on the site staff page. So you can just make yourself over there.
Indeed.
Yes. So,
Yeah, that's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
and yeah.
And as a very special request to a friend, I'm supposed to say a word at the very end of the Nintendo Castle podcast.
Oh.
I didn't tell Emhave about this,
What are you?
but pepperino.